Get 5 coffins ready.
Hey everyone, welcome to my guide for Vamana. Vamana is a very unique warrior in SMITE, and you probably wouldn't guess the optimal way to play him if you just picked him up for yourself without watching any high level players playing him. But to give you a hint, he's basically the only warrior in the game who could be considered a light game hypercarry. His build should give you some idea of what he's all about. He needs to be tanky in these mean crit streets, but he also grabs himself a few attack speed items as well, and there's really no set build for him. Other than Golden Blade first, of course, but you may see that being nerfed soon since just about every warrior under the sun uses it. Oh, and also, you go Warrior's Axe so that you can buy Axe of Animosity at level 20. This item gives you bonus damage on every basic attack, so if this item is removed or disabled, don't bother with Warrior's Axe. Death's Toll and Warding Sigil are great alternatives. Relics wise, well, for solo, you need to grab Teleport in this economy. Second relic, actually Blink has been seeing a resurgence on him. I'll get into more detail when we talk about his ultimate. Relics like Horrific Emblem and Sprint work well on him too, but as I said, I'll explain more later. Shard-wise, 100 million% go Wing Shard. It is so good on Vamana and is one of the reasons for his recent relevance. Let's get to yet another beautifully simple passive in SMITE. Vamana gains power and attack speed based on the percentage of his total physical protections, so even when Vamana gets tanky, he's still getting a little bit of power back. This of course doesn't mean that you want to just build 6 physical protection items and call it a day, but Vamana does tend to lean harder into building physical defense over magical defense, oftentimes completely forgoing dedicated magical defense for items that instead give both magical and physical protections like a Spirit Robe or Mantle of Discord. Those other items in the build, Axe of Animosity, Kin Size, and Toxoblade, are all there to be augmented by the passive. And by that I just mean that thanks to the passive, Vamana is far better at utilizing these items than other gods are, at least on paper. Aiding in Vamana's ability to chase people down is his 3 core abilities, so let's break them down. In Vamana's first ability, he charges forward and gains bonus movement speed. He cannot strafe side to side, but he can be lightly steered by looking left and right. When colliding with an enemy, he knocks them back and damages them. A simple ability on paper, but a few things to keep in mind. Firstly, Vamana is affected by all forms of CC in this ability, from things that will stop it completely like stuns, to things like slows which will still fully affect Vamana while casting the ability. So, while a Vamana who uses this ability to escape is certainly going to do so if the ability in full goes off, he's not going anywhere if the enemy has any form of hard CC to use against him. Needless to say then, if you intend on using this ability, whether it be aggressively or defensively, either bait out that CC first or space yourself in such a way that you won't get hit by it as you use this ability. That's about it when talking about it as an escape, so while using it aggressively, you'll need to know how it works with his other abilities, so let's get to them. In Vamana's second ability, he does damage in a very wide cone AoE which does not go through walls. And that's it. It's probably the simplest ability in SMITE and there's not too much to discuss here. Although as I mentioned earlier, this is where the aggression with his first ability starts to take shape. So you can knock someone up with this ability, then cancel the ability as soon as it connects, basic attack, and 2 for a clean and fairly hard hitting basic combo. The timing will take some getting used to, and tracking the enemy as they fly through the air has a bit of a learning curve, but after a while it becomes second nature. And of course, if you don't have any abilities up, you can still use the first ability in the same way to simply start chasing someone down. After this little combo, you usually want to follow it up with your third ability. Vamana throws his Umbrella forward, which upon reaching its maximum distance will return to Vamana. Upon hitting an enemy, the enemy is damaged and will be slowed as well as have their attack speed reduced, and of course all of this will reapply if the enemy is hit by the return swing as well. This ability takes a lot of the roles that you may have thought Vamana's second ability would take. It's his wave clear, an integral part of his chase, and his only real form of poke. It's a stellar ability though. Not only does it give Vamana formidable wave clear, it also allows him to basically win any trade once his build starts coming online, i.e. having his passive bonus on top of his power items. Not only is it very slow, meaning that it can be easily dodged when using it for poke or to engage at long ranges, it also means that Vamana has to use his best trade tool on the wave in order to clear it safely. This is part of why Golden Blade is such a good positive for him, since it means he doesn't have to use his 3 every single time to clear the wave, so enjoy that while it lasts. But let's get into the real meat and potatoes with Vamana's ultimate. Vamana becomes TC immune, and while in this state, Vamana gains lifesteal, power, and protections. His basic attacks also strike at an AoE, his basic attacks grant him movement speed each time they connect, and Vamana receives a reduced basic attack movement speed penalty in this form. And he can walk through player-made walls, but finally, and debatably most importantly, he gains a shield which will grow in health as the ultimate progresses, and upon getting hit by any enemy god ability or basic attack, the duration of the ultimate will be extended, meaning that it has a duration of 6 seconds base, and it can be extended for up to 10 seconds total. So where to even begin with this? Well, to get it out of the way now, this is why people are buying Blink on Vamana, just to blink in on an optimal target and enter this form to get to stomping. since obviously trying to use your first ability to get into melee range of the enemy backline in the late game is just never going to work. But that's where you need to be as Vamana, so Blink is almost always seen as a necessity, even though other relics do still work just fine on him. And that's the main game plan with Vamana, just get to the enemy's backline and basic attack like no tomorrow. Vamana is a rare case of a warrior who can dive like this and truly cannot be peeled off of his targets. All that can potentially be done to him is 1, the targets get away while the ultimate is still going, or 2, he dies. So first off, the main issue you'll find on Vamana is people just kind of walking away from you while you ult. So before you go in as Vamana, it's imperative that you know the potential distance that can be gained by an enemy. Watch out for any enemy movement abilities, and keep an eye out for relics like Sprint from the enemy support as well. This is obviously a big problem for Vamana in certain situations when gods like Giannis or Jingwei, where you realistically can't catch them unless your teammates burn their movement abilities for you first. But it's no problem at all into gods like say Poseidon or Martikaros, who really stand no chance of getting away from you, so you'll need to adjust your playstyle accordingly depending on what the enemy team can do to wait out your ultimate, since they may, again, just run away from it, or they may use immunities like Freya or Ram ultimate to wait it out. The other issue is literally just dying. Keep in mind that the shield ramps up as you use the ability, so when you're first entering the ability, your shield means basically nothing. So if the enemy team can just burst you hard enough, say they use those Jingwei crits and a Poseidon ultimate on you instead of trying to run, you can die very quickly. But that said, if you don't die, the best thing you can do is keep on fighting. Gaining significant power and lifesteal with a ramping shield while being CC immune the entire time means that you will win any extended trade, so don't be scared to just keep W keying and basic attacking at low health, because the lifesteal and the shield will always help you turn even the worst of trades. Other than against crit right now, Hyros, can you please nerf crit? So that's the late game out of the way. When do you use it in the early and mid game? Realistically, you never want to burn this ultimate other than when you know you can get a kill, whether that be finishing someone off in a 1-on-1 or in a 2v2 with your jungler. Otherwise, you can keep it in reserve as basically the best self-peel in the entire game. All you have to do is pop the ultimate, and there's really not a whole lot the enemy jungler or solo laner can do unless you're already at low HP. So use it early, but as always, try to read the situation so you don't use your CC immunity too early, like against someone like a Daji or Hunbats who's just going to wait out your ultimate and still kill you thanks to their CC. But that said, as I mentioned before with other gods like this, like Osiris and Erlang Shen, even though it can be a little intimidating, try to be aggressive with this ultimate. It's the core of Vamana's effectiveness and is not just there to be used as a get out jail free card. With that out of the way, let's get to some combos with Vamana. 3, walk up, 2. 3, 1, cancel when you hit them, basic, 2, basics. 1, cancel once you hit them, basic, 2, 3, chase with basics and ultimate. Blink, 3, ultimate. A more advanced take on this is 3, blink before the 3 hits, and ultimate. For ability leveling, you want your 3 at level 1, your 2 at level 2, and your 1 at level 3. From there you want to max your 3, your 2, then your 1, leveling the ultimate whenever you can. Some make the case for leveling the 2 since the slow on the 3 doesn't increase with levels, and since it can be dodged rather easily unlike the 2 looks like more of a safe bet to some people. Nothing wrong with that line of thinking, but I'd definitely still level the 3 for more consistent wave clear. Vamana is simple and complicated at the same time. His core 3 abilities and passive do very basic things and tie together quite well into a nice little character who's based around chase down but lacks CC other gods can put down to get that chasing done. Throw his ultimate into the mix though, and he's easily one of the best late game melee carries in the game, able to stop unimpeded through countless different team compositions. Obviously, as I've mentioned, into teams that are too mobile, Vamana is going to feel completely useless, and he's also dependent on what gods are good in each respective role, which can definitely feel a little cheap if you're a fan of the character. But on the opposite end of the scale, when Vamana is matched against gods without a good answer to his ultimate, he feels completely untouchable and unfair to play against. So master Vamana's lane matchup so you don't get behind, and there's almost no situation where you can't potentially carry the game, which is a rare thing for a solo laner. He's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but you should really give him a try if you're looking for a more unique solo laner. That's all I have on Vamana for now, thanks for watching.